Sunday's supplement, Mind Emission, on the Toad Chem coming from New York, Toad City, Salvia Divinorum and Consciousness, and Psychedelic Psychology. And my editorial thinking. I have a lot of editorial thought because I did live through the first psychedelic psychedelic embrace by society, primarily of the serotonin agonist, I think. Psychedelics, the psilocybin, LSD, mescaline family, and other things. In my opinion, I believe that we were not energetically ready, or our general psychic state really was not adequately prepared to go from the Eisenhower era 50s mindset directly into the psychedelic mindset. Certain people, I think there was a certain percentage of people, relatively small percentage of people in the culture who were mentally flexible enough, open enough, prepared, whatever all those developmental evolutionary steps are, there was a small number, 1%, I don't know, 5% of the people who experienced psychedelics were able to really benefit from them and to use that as a platform or a launching pad or a springboard to going to some other higher level of understanding. It didn't really work out that way for a lot of other people. For a lot of other people who were not prepared, it seemed to actually, in many cases, it seemed to intensify their level of unpreparedness. It created more problems than it solved. But maybe with time and with repeated cyclings through different types of psychedelic experiences and the development of psychedelic philosophies and psychologies of some sophistication, and I don't really think that they're all that sophisticated at the moment, but as we develop a mature basis to use this stuff, perhaps we're at a place where we can use them more effectively, in a more evolutionary, transformative way, and not simply in a tautological sort of light show way. You know, I mean, I think for a lot of people it just became a really neat light show in which many of your pre-existing issues were just sort of ingrained further in this confused morass of psychedelic excess. On the other hand, yeah, definitely there seems to be a growing shamanic consciousness, a growing consciousness of using it in a sort of framework of energy psychology and psychedelic psychology and philosophy and spiritualism. So you kind of got a triangle of, a psychological approach, a philosophical approach, a shamanic spiritualist, or sort of earth spirit kind of way, which provides a stronger basis for doing it than just saying, going out there and getting your mind blown, or going out there and seeing if you can freak out your friends or something, which is doable, but you can also do stuff like, take a chainsaw and decide to turn your house into modern sculpture by ripping through the walls with chainsaws. You can use tools wisely, or you can use tools in ridiculous and immature ways, and many people have used them in very ridiculous, immature, or just sort of posterizing ways, blacklight poster psychology, just kind of, groovy shit to lay around and stare at and wish you were somewhere else, I guess. But in the way that it operates in the psychological realm, in the realm of consciousness, I get the feeling that it creates a new form of psychology that is not phenomenological psychology. It's not a subject-object division psychology, but it becomes a psychology of energy, of consciousness, not as consciousness of something, but consciousness as ontology, consciousness as a primary state of being. And you might then start talking about people having sort of different energetic states, different states of awareness, different states of receptivity, different states of sensitivity to energies and subtle things that are going on, a general state of being awakened to certain aspects versus closed, and maybe some people who are just some people are very, very closed or narrow, or very set on their presuppositions about how the world works, how people relate to each other, what they kind of pick up on with each other, turns them on and turns them off about other people and the energies other people have. So there's a lot of room for I think intellectual growth and for really developing a true psychology, philosophy, spirituality around psychedelic substances that builds on and doesn't necessarily eliminate a previous model. It just adds a further dimension of understanding to a previous model. So there's a lot we can do with that, and I think maybe we're finally reaching that place collectively as a society where we can start engaging this stuff societally as part of kind of our collective identity, and not just as little breakaway groups of people engaged in kind of private mysteries. So I guess that'll be my supplement for now, what I've kind of onto, and we'll pick it up later.